What's going on, everyone? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and we have got another big signature heritage comic auction coming up. There's some really cool stuff in this auction. We're going to talk about those, talk about some expected prices. Let me know in the comments, are you planning on bidding on anything in this auction? Is there anything that you're thinking you want to pick up? Anything you think is particularly cool? Let me know down in the comments. But I don't know if you get these. I get these in the mail because I buy a lot of stuff from Heritage, but got these two booklets, which are the, everything that's coming up in the next signature heritage auction, which is in just a few days, coming out this week. I think it starts on the 9th. So July 9th, and it usually goes through that Sunday. So that'd be 10th, 11th, maybe the 12th. Let's see if it's through the 12th. Yes, 9th through the 12th. So you can see the big item that's on the front of the book is Action Comics #1 and a 4.5. We talked about this in the Ungraded Truth, that we've been seeing a lot of Action 1s come up recently. Big part of it, I'm sure, is because of that huge $15 million sale for an Action Comics 1, the 9.0 Nicolas Cage copy. But there's a second Action 1 in here. There's a 6.5 restored. So it's just pretty wild how many Action 1s are coming up right now. And we had the Comic Connect Rocket copy 6.0 that sold just like a month ago, or a little less than that, a few weeks ago. Then we have the art. We're not going to go too much into the art. I know people don't really watch the art that much, so I don't talk about it too much. But I think the art is really cool. You might want to check it out if you're interested. I just thought I would point out this one that's on the front, which is the opening page to Tales of Suspense 39. I think I've heard that somebody actually had like every page or almost every page, and that's why we've been seeing them get slow rolled out. This has absolutely got to be the biggest page that's in there, though. I mean, awesome opening page, and it's got a I'm gonna lick the paste up down here. It's signed by Stan Lee, which is super cool. It's already over $1 million. I've heard some predictions at 2 million. Who knows? I think it's already above what the 9.8 Tales of Suspense 39 sold for. So yeah, pretty cool piece of art there. All right. So those are the books. If you don't buy stuff from Heritage, I think you can order those from them. But hey, you buy some stuff from them, and then they start sending you those for free. And they're just fun to kind of look through and all that. But let's start getting into these comics. So I ordered them from highest price to lowest price. So we'll talk about a couple of these things here. The other thing I thought might be interesting is just to kind of show you how many copies of some things there are. So I could order them just by name. And so then you can see like the duplicates that appear. And so that's actually something to keep an eye out for, because if you see a book that you're really interested in, and it doesn't just have to, I mean, this is the big dollar, like high dollar auctions, but something you can do in other auctions as well. If you see a book, if there's something you're interested in and you see that multiple copies are coming up for sale in that auction, if there's like 3, 4, 5, you might be able to snag one of those for a deal. And that's where you want to keep your eyes open. So, hey, maybe somebody's getting a deal on an Action Comics #1 because we got 2 of them coming up in this auction. Here is that 4.5, actually pretty presentable copy, like a nice colors, 4.5, solid mid-grade book. And we have the 6.5 restored copy as well. Now, so for the 4.5, I've got GPA pulled up right here. We can get an idea what this one might go for. Here you can see that $2.76 million sale that we had for the 6.0 Rocket copy on Comic Connect. Now, that was a bit of a disappointing sale. I mean, this book sold for $3.18 million back in 2022. We've seen big sales for Action Comics #1, so you might have thought it was going to go up from there, but it didn't. It dropped by about $400,000. I imagine the seller wasn't pleased. I mean, they've got an Action Comics 1, though. They probably have plenty of money. I doubt they're that concerned, but probably weren't super pleased with that. It went for 2.76. The only other really relevant sale we've had recently was this 3.0 that went for $960,000 back in 2024. So 960,000 is about what, 320,000 a point. 2.76 million is about 450,000 per point. So if we estimate, say, somewhere in between there, about 400,000 a point, we might think that this 4.5 would go for about 1.8 million. Right now, it is sitting at 1.403 million. So it's pretty close. It would only take a few bids up at this price point to get it up into that 1.8 million mark. So it's possible. It is very possible. I do think this one is selling pretty early in the auction. Yeah, it's lot number 2, which can sometimes be trouble. We've seen sometimes where the early lots. People like haven't gotten in yet, you know, they haven't showed up at the auction, and so maybe they don't get some bids. So it can sometimes be trouble to be real early there, but we'll see. My estimate's about 1.8 million for this beautiful copy of Action Comics #1. Then we've got the restored copy. Restored copies have been going around 4 to 500,000, and that's where this one's sitting roughly right now. It's sitting at 402,000, so it's kind of in the range already for where you might expect the a restored copy to go. This one, it is moderate, extensive A4, so it's a professional restoration, color touch, leaf casting, reinforced, and cleaned. But yeah, great looking book too. But if you want to go for the restored, if you can't afford the $2 million book, maybe you can afford the $400,000 book. Then we've got an Amazing Fantasy 15 and an 8.0. We've seen in the last few Heritage auctions, we have seen some nice Amazing Fantasy 15s. Now, I have been critical of those AF 15s that I feel like they've had flaws that just didn't feel like they necessarily deserved the grade that they were getting. A lot of stuff along the spine that I've seen, but an 8.0, let's take a look at what an 8.0 AF 15, because like I said, we've had some around this price point or around this grade that have been selling lately. So I think we'll probably have some pretty good references for this book. And so you can see here, we had an 8.5 that went for 268,000 in May. We had an 8.0 that went for 211,000 in June. So a couple like really relevant price points right here. And another one that had sold relatively recently for a little bit more. You can see 244,000. So it had still been trending down. We're kind of back in that trend line spot though. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes around 210 to 220,000. Where's it at right now? It's at 207,400. Now, I will say this one I felt was a little better. I liked it more than the last one that sold in terms of flaws. Absolutely has flaws, for the grade. Got a little crease in the corner up here, has a little wear along the top edge. Remember, we're zoomed in a lot. We're zoomed in a lot, but it has some spine ticks. Got the spine tick, has this, crease thing up here. Has a few bigger spine ticks at the staples there. But overall, a little like paper loss down in this corner. This is a nice book. This is a nice book. And I mean, great colors. Everything looks solid on this one. Take a look at the back real quick, see if anything jumps out. I mean, looks like a little not rust from this book, but probably rust from a book it was sitting on top of, kind of back there, but a good looking book. This is a really good looking book, a nice looking 8.0. So I wouldn't be surprised if it does a little better. So that last one, the one that I think I was a little critical of, this one was on, the one I was critical of was, I think, on Heritage. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, this one too, this one has a lot of Marvel chipping on the right edge. It's still nice, but yeah, it's got that Marvel chipping there, which I know is a big deterrent for a lot of people. And at an 8.0, that's, a little tough to swallow. Here's the 244 8.0. This was one that I think I was really, this one I did not like. It had the creases over here at the staples, pretty long creases along here. And that one went for 244. But we had this 8.5 that went for 268. So I think you're not going to be able to get too much more out of this one. Maybe it gets up to around 240. I think 225 to 240 is a pretty reasonable number for this book, given the other sales. But this is a nice presenting copy. So, hey, maybe it even does a little bit better. All right. Move on. We've got a Fantastic Four #1 in a 9.0, currently sitting at $118,950. Man, this book has come down so much from the comic boom period. This book was super, super high during that period and has corrected fairly significantly. So let's take a look at a 9.0. We actually had a 9.0 sell just in June for $208,150. Let's see, where did that one sell? Also on Comic Connect. It was a 9.0 white page copy that sold for $208,000, which is slightly up from the prior sale of $180,000. White pages may have played a role in that. This one is not white pages, off white to white, sitting at $118,000. Still seems like it has quite a bit of work to do. Based on what we've seen over here, 8.5 for 160 in 2024, 8.0 for 75 back in 2025 or in 2025. Yeah, I don't see this one breaking 200,000. It's not the white pages and all of that. probably upper 100s. I think that's pretty reasonable to think, somewhere in the, the 180 to, I don't think it's gonna break 200, maybe around 170 to 180. And it does have quite a bit of work to do. Like you can see here, like it's only at 118 now. Granted, in these auctions, in the live auctions, you can get a lot of action in that live bidding. I've seen books triple, quadruple from what their price was prior to the live bidding. So that wouldn't be a big surprise. But let's take a close look at this one. I mean, it's got a fair amount of, like, it's got some yellowing to it. But if I remember correctly, it was a pretty nice book. I mean, it is a 9, right? It's like, it's not going to have a bunch of flaws, but doesn't have anything like, this isn't a flaw. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's just part of the art. I mean, a little soft corner, but nice looking book. I mean, it really is. It does have a bit of a dust shadow on the right edge that could deter some people, but yeah, I mean, this is a nice looking 9.0. I do think that this is a nice looking 9.0. Let's take a look at the back. Back looks pretty nice. Let's see what the graders notes say about this. Chip out of right top of back cover, very light shadow all edges. It says a back cover. We did see it on the front too. Multiple wear, right bottom, front cover, breaks color. Chip out of top right back cover. Where's this chip? Man, I don't know. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. Like, it's tough to tell from here. Maybe there's a little something. Who knows? Maybe it's like that. But not calling out the, I don't know, not calling out the shadow on the front, but then calling out like super tiny chip. Who knows? But that's why I say, like, graders notes, they're just kind of, they're not extensive. They should be. When you're grading a book that's this expensive, they should be extensive, but they aren't, and that's the way it is. It's got to accept it. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice looking book. Could it be a 9.2? I don't know. Maybe somebody plays that game. Maybe somebody plays that game. A 9.2 White Mountain pedigree sold for $575,000. You get that book for 170, and you roll the dice, and you pull a 9.2. You make 300 grand after fees and everything like that. It might not be a bad way to go. But yeah, I'm sure some people are looking at that and considering that if this book goes low enough. Still, though, you could, maybe it drops to an 8.5 and then you lose a bunch of money. It's always the risk with the resubs and all that kind of thing. All right, let's keep going. I'm not going to talk about every book up here. I do want to go over some of the, like the multiples that we see in this too. But let's call out, Dr. Doom's, he's going to be hot this year. I feel like he's lagging right now. I'm not hearing much talk about it, but we've got Doomsday coming out later this year, just I think in Christmas, right? And so we've got Fantastic Four number 5, first appearance of Dr. Doom in a 9. I don't want to do that. Do this in a 9.4. And so this is a off-white to white page copy. Let's take a look at Fantastic Four number 5, first appearance of Dr. Doom. What is a 9.4 going for? Last 9.4 sold for $120,000 last year, almost a year ago now. Has been trending down a bit, but man, we had a 9.2 go for 108 last year. This 120 feels a little soft. Does feel a little soft given what we've got coming with Dr. Doom, Robert Downey Jr., all that kind of stuff. Man, I don't know. Where's it sitting right now? This one's sitting at 79,000. I could see this one getting some bids. It's a tough one to estimate, just because that 120 feels soft, but that's going to be a number that's in people's heads. But I think 120 can happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it beats that number. We've got a little bit of green, a little bit of red down here in the lower grades. Definitely, we've seen a lot of price compression on this book in the lower grades. If you've been looking for a copy of this, lower grades might really be like a place to look. You might be able to find some pretty good deals right now. But man, like if Dr. Doom, if it really takes off in that movie and he's actually, if he plays the character really well, he's really engaging, we know we're going to get him for multiple movies, that kind of stuff. Maybe that's a buy, like something to really consider, especially if it goes around this price point. Might be a pretty good pickup for a 9.4. What's the census like on this? 15 and 9.4, 4 higher. So it's 496s, 098. So it's second highest graded. This is up there. This is one of the best copies in the world of this book. All right. Got to talk about a little golden age here. We've got Suspense Comics number 3. I almost don't want to talk about this one because I really do like this book. And man, it's a tempting one because this is a nice looking 2.0. This is a tempting one. It's up there though, already at 73,000, but there's a reason. We've seen some less than desirable presenting copies coming up for sale, and this one is a very, very nice looking 2.0. This is the classic Alex Schomburg cover, the most expensive Alex Schomburg cover that is out there. And I mean, look at that, 2 and 2.0, 12 higher. It's just like these books just don't exist. Like as a 2.0, and there's only 12 graded higher than this one. There's only 28 universal copies on the census. Look at how many are lower grade than this one. And this presents really, really well. Let's just take a look. Let's see what this might go for. I think this was probably going to do pretty well because at least, oh, that's not the one we want. So we want Suspense number 3. I want the older one, 1944. And so this one, a 2.0, so we had a 1.5 go for 66,000, a 4.0 go for 156. Half of 156 would be 78, but I think this one's going to do a little better than that. I think somewhere at least in the $80,000 to $90,000 price point because this copy looks so good. This copy looks really, really good. It's, I mean, you've got the full like Schomburg block down in the corner there. Upper corner looks good. I know that's one of the things that often gets called out. I mean, it's a good looking book. Let's see what the notes are. Light spine split, piece out of spine, stain interior cover. It's probably a very fragile spine. Yeah, I mean, like you can look at that. Like the spine is the reason. Like when you've got a book that presents this well, it's going to be the spine. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was almost completely split. Light spine split, I was surprised. I thought it'd be like major spine splits or something like that. But yeah, that I could see this easily in the 80 to 90 range. It's already at 76. Will it break 100? That'd be pretty cool. Well, in a way, like I don't like that it does because it just makes the book even more out of my my price point. But yeah, I like seeing big numbers, especially the books that you like. But yeah, this one it just may never be. I did try to get one of the really rough copies, and I got outbid. I was the underbidder. I was close. It didn't happen. The one that went on Comic Connect maybe like a couple months ago, 2-3 months ago, something like that. But yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, my 80 to 90, I'm feeling like I might be a little soft on that even. It might break 100. This one might break 100. This is just such a nice looking copy. All right. Let's move on here. See if there's any other like, oh yeah, that's right. This is definitely one to watch. So it's a restored copy. It's CBCS, moderate, extensive, amateur, but I mean, it's a Marvel Comics one, which I've said, like, I don't love this cover. I actually don't really like the cover at all, but I like the color scheme. The color scheme feels very modern, but it's a book from 1940 or 1939. Sorry, it's a book from 1939, but the color scheme just feels very modern, but I just don't like the art. But this one, the thing that makes this one special is that this is an October copy. So in the upper right-hand corner, you can see it's an October copy. They had basically what you'd call like a second print where they put a little like dot thing over this where it becomes a November copy. So this is an October copy of Marvel Comics number 1, which goes for a premium. Absolutely. They are much more desirable if you can get those October copies, even if it's restored. And so definitely one that I would be really cool to be able to own. We've got Marvel Comics number 1, 1939. And I think do they call out if they're October? Maybe they don't. Oh yeah, here's one October cover where they do call it out, but it's a 1.0. This was unrestored, universal for 163,000. Let's take a look at restored because this one is what, a 2.5. It's CBCS, but yeah, no, it's Marvel Comics number 1, right? So we've got a 2.5. I mean, there's not a ton of sales recently. We had a 156,000 for a 2.0. Let's see if this one was in October or November. Yeah, so this is what you get with the November ones. You can see here it has the November and this like stamp thing over the October. And so that's the big difference here is we've got, an October copy, which people are going to be going after it. Like, I mean, I can just about guarantee it because that is a very, very desirable book. Man, I think It's probably going to, like, this is an October 10 that went for 163,000. It's probably going to do around that. I mean, like 175 even. I wouldn't be surprised, but man, it would be crazy if CBCS held it back. It'd be crazy if it was because of CBCS that held it back, because it's only at 64,000 right now. Like, if that book, man, if it goes like around 100, that somebody's buying that book and they are flipping that book. Let's see what the restoration is. Moderate amount of pieces added to cover, cover and first wrap reinforced, tear seals to cover and first wrap, cover cleaned. Yeah, it'd be interesting to take kind of like a close look at this and see like where those pieces are added. If you can really, you should be able to see it pretty easily given it's amateur, but like off the bat, it doesn't, like, nothing jumps out as like really bad. Maybe it's on the back. Maybe there's stuff that was like added in on the back. Like, yeah, you can see like maybe along the spine here or something, or down here. But yeah, like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe I should cut this segment out of my video and go after this one, because like I feel like if this went for the right price, this could be a very, very good pickup. If being in a CBCS case hurts the Marvel Comics one that bad, and it's an October copy, it'd be super, super cool. But yeah, if you do end up picking this up, give me a shout out for calling it out. But yeah, this is one that I will absolutely be watching. All right, let's see if there's anything else real quick. We've got a Hulk 181 9.8. It's off white to white. We had one go low 50s, I think, relatively recently. This one's already in, it's at 52. So it might not get much more. Like, this book has been continuing to drop. We've got this one. We talked about this book in the this Batman 1 PSA 9.8 restored. We talked about this one in the Ungraded Truth, because I believe this book, and I was thinking I had seen it sell, but maybe I haven't. Maybe I just did an estimate on what I thought it would go for. But I believe this is the copy that was like super controversial, that CGC, one of the books, like CGC wouldn't grade because they couldn't fully identify what all the restoration was. So they didn't grade it. And then CBCS graded it and was a 9.6, and somebody cracked it out and sent it to PSA and it got a 9.8. And it was like, I think like the original like restorers, they sued CGC and got like $10 million or something like that because they wouldn't grade it and hurt their business and that kind of stuff. So very interesting book. But kind of from the price point side of things, like when you're talking about a high grade restored book, they do not get that like 50% of value that a lot of people talk about when you're talking about a restored book, like 50% of Universal. They get maybe a percent, usually not even that. Maybe it's 0.5% for something like this. And that's because if you had, like, and you just got to think about it, like if you had a Batman 1, and I don't remember what the highest grade is, a 9.6 or something like that. I think it sold recently. So if you have a Batman 1, maybe it's the 9.4. Maybe this is the highest graded copy. Let's check. We'll confirm real quick. So the 9.4 is the highest. So you have 9.4, that's $6 million. And this one, if you go down to, restoreds, like restoreds are often going around 50, like 50,000 is kind of like the baseline typically. Sometimes they trickle down into the 40s or like really high 30s if they look pretty bad. But around 50s, I could see this one getting up into maybe, because it's a ton of restoration, maybe 80 to 90. I don't see this book breaking 100,000. If it does, I'd be surprised. I mean, hey, if it does, great, but I'd be surprised. But where's it sitting right now? Let's see. So it's $39,000 bid. So it's sitting at $47,580. And it's just because, like, when you have a book that's got this much restoration on it, it's mostly restored. Maybe, I don't even know how much of like the interior has been restored or not, like all that kind of thing. And so like you're buying like an interior, and you're buying like, I'm sure there's some of that cover that's original, but a lot of it probably isn't. And so it's like, what are you paying for an interior and, a mostly repo cover? And so that's what you got to consider with these kinds of things, especially the really high grade restored books with a ton of restoration. I mean, like me personally, like I wouldn't really want it. But I imagine it would go for 80 to 90. I wouldn't pay that though. Like, I'd rather have a lower grade restored copy with less restoration that's going for like 55. Like, personally, but hey, that's me. you get to decide what you want to do with your money. All right. Some other cool stuff. We've got a high grade 9.2 Gaines file copy of Crime Suspense Stories. There you go. Crime Suspense Stories number 22, the classic Johnny Craig beheading cover. Superman 1, an 8.5 Restore Detective Comics number 31. Some really cool stuff. So tons of really cool books. You've seen, like, we've had multiple AF-15. That's a 5.5. Didn't we have another one in here too? Yeah, here's the 6.5, and then we've got an 8. So like multiple AF-15s. But now let's order these by their name. So item title. So just to kind of get an idea, like how many duplicates there are. So we've got 2 Action 1s. Let's keep going down here. Let's see what else we've got with some duplicates, with maybe some of these like really big higher dollar items. Now you can see here we've got a lot of like really high grade Action Comics, Adventure Comics, those kinds of things. Like people that are trying to put together runs, like high grade runs, sometimes that's what they're looking for. And they can go for quite a bit of money. Like you can be surprised if you get that top of census book from Action Comics or Adventure Comics, even if it's later, like Silver Age, those can be fairly valuable books. It's a really cool one, Adventure Comics 40, first Sandman in continuity, I guess is what you would call that. We've got 2 All-Star 8s. So we got a restored copy, an 8.5, first appearance of Wonder Woman, and we have got a 2.0 unrestored. We've got 2 copies of All-American number 16. We've got a restored copy 5.0 and a signed copy 1.8. I've seen the signed copy sell before. I don't love the Sheldon Shelley Moldoff signature on there. I'm not a huge fan of that. And we've got the 3 Amazing Fantasy 15s, a 6.5, a 5.5, and an 8.0. Let's keep going on here. We've got 3 there's always a bunch of Batman ones, right? We've got the restored 2.0. We've got the restored 9.8, and we have a qualified 1.8. What is the qualified one? I think I've looked at this. Say back cover married, I think. So modern amount of tape, married cover. All right, so married cover. So it's not just back cover married. It is just the cover has been married to this one. Meaning, if you're not familiar with that term, it means you got a cover from another copy of Batman 1 and added onto an interior that it doesn't match with. It's still a Batman 1 interior, but it's just different pieces from different books that have been combined to make a complete copy. So we've got 3 Batman 1s. Let's keep going here. We've got a couple Batman 18s here, an 8.5 and a 5.0. Let's see what else we got. A few more. Any more? Oh man, we got a 9.8 of Batman 251. Not a white page copy, off white to white, but definitely a very desirable book we've got there. This one I'm absolutely going to be watching, because if you've watched my raw comic pickups, I picked up a raw copy of Batman 49 off of eBay relatively recently, and mine puts this book to shame. So I'm excited to see what mine turns out as in terms of grade, because this is a 6.5. Man, mine just destroys this book. Just destroys it. It's not even close. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about sending that one in and see how it does. Man, it just destroys that book. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to see what that one comes back as. All right, let's keep going here. See what else. I mean, we're only in the B's, but there's so many books that sell in these auctions. Hundreds and hundreds of books. We've got 2 Captain America 1s, a 4.0 qualified and a 5.5 conserved. Conserved, you've got the gray bar up there on the top. It's not universal. Don't let the conserved label fool you. It is a restored book, but it is very specific types of restoration, and that's how you get that conserved label. It means it has to be a small amount, which that is sometimes not, and it has to be professional. And very certain types. You can't have color touch, that kind of thing. But yeah, so 2 copies of Captain America 1. Let's see what else we got going on here. If there's anything else that jumps out early on. I mean, a couple copies of Captain America number 8. I mean, that's why it's just always worthwhile to just do these scans with these auctions and see what opportunities you might have. I mean, look at this. 2 Detective 33s. That's not something you're going to see very often. A restored copy and a universal 5.5. 2 Detective 33s, early Batman cover, because he was on 27, 29, 31, and 33. So this is his 4th cover. Just his 4th cover, and I think he still has the gun. Yep, still has the gun on the cover in this one. So let's keep going here. Multiple really early techs. So that's pretty cool to see. First appearance of Penguin there. Let's see if there's any other... oh my gosh, look at the Fantastic Fours. 4 Fantastic Four number ones. We have a 6.0, a 6.5, a 9.0, and a 5.0. This is an example of one where if you are looking for Fantastic Four number one, this might be the auction to watch. Like you might be able to snag one of these at a discount, depending on when it's selling or how many of them are selling on that Thursday versus the Saturday. Could you grab one on the Saturday auction that just kind of gets overlooked for a bit? I mean, definitely, if you're looking for a Fantastic Four number one, I would be watching. I'd be watching that for sure. It's really cool. A 9.8 of the Green Air Fantastic Four 110. Because I had one that I got recently that got graded and I traded. But yeah, that's really cool. We've got 2 Fantastic Four number 5s. Definitely see that this one here is much brighter than the 7.5. But I mean, it's a 9.4. What do you want, right? Got a Flash number 1, a 0.5, so a brittle page copy. Got 2 giant size X-Men 1s. Too bad we don't have a 9.8 CGC. It's a 9.6 CGC and a 9.8 PSA. So again, we'll be interested. It's too bad. Like I said, I would love to have them back to back, like 2 9.8, so we can do a price comparison on how they do, like we saw with that X-Men 94 in the last auction. Unfortunately, we can't do that here, but it'd still be interesting to see what this high grade PSA 9.8 ends up going for, or Giant Size X-Men 1 ends up going for. Man. Oh, and hey, got that book right back here. So a 9.8 of House of Secrets number 103. That's an incredible grade for that. Very, very tough book. We've got 2 Journey into Mystery number 83s, first appearance of Thor, and 2 Journey into Mysteries number 85, first appearance of Loki. And that's just the first page. Like, so yeah, definitely, you know, take your time, come over to Heritage if you're interested in this kind of stuff. Like the price points are going to be higher. You know, this is a signature auction. Price points will tend to be like on the low end, few $1,000. Like you might have some down around 1,000, barely any tend to go below 1,000. There are probably some in this one with some of those like adventure and action higher grade books probably go under 1,000. But on the high end, you're going to have in the millions, you know, like that Action Comics 1, the Tales of Suspense 39 opening splash page, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's just always fun to kind of like scan through this stuff. Got a Mask 1 and a Mask 2. Super cool. But yeah, fun stuff. Really cool books. You know, always cool to see this kind of crazy stuff coming up for sale. Let's see what else we got in here. I mean, yeah, all kinds of crazy books. Big, expensive stuff. Fun to see. I know, like some people, I don't know, they seem to get like annoyed or frustrated when I talk about these because they're like, oh, we can't afford these books. It's like, I can't afford most of these books either, but I still like watching them. It's still fun to see like these big books, these iconic books, like what they end up selling for, you know, like these are like the pinnacle of the hobby, right? So I don't know, fun to watch. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe. Appreciate everybody that has become members of the channel. And, you know, like I've said before, other ways to support the channel in the description of the video. And I will see you on the next one.